Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Zodiac Bandit, and today we're going to be recapping episode 110 of Campaign 3 of Critical Role. Let's get into it. The party have just emerged in the Raven's Crest after having met the Raven Queen. They cough up blood from the pool, which is nasty and gross. Imogen cleans them all off with prestidigitation, and Leah Tell says that she hopes they found what they were seeking, and the party all agree that they did. Lana asks if she's ever spoken to the Raven Queen before, and Liev says yes, she has. Breas asks if she's ever had to fight specters of her past before, and Liev says, or asks simply, isn't that what communion is all about? And the party kind of agree, kind of disagree, they're not too sure, not many of them commune very often. Liev says that the day is theirs and they have a lot to do. She gives a knowing look at the party. Lana insight checks her and gets an 11 on the roll. Lana can tell that that's just her energy, that she has this sort of look constantly, but she's also aware of the plan that's going ahead as she was at the Platinum Sanctuary. Liev tells us that they all have their part to play in this. Orem asks if there's been movement in the city, and she says that there's been quite a bit. This is just one of the many places that their forces are gathering. The magic users are preparing for a rapid transition to the Hellcatch Valley. The party think that they should meet with Keyleth. Orem asks if they need to do anything for themselves before they head out. He feels this is their last chance, like absorbing magical items. But the party did that already once this morning. They go over what they can use to be absorbed, but they can't do anything with it yet. Imogen asks if Lana is feeling the pull for magical items. Lana says no, she doesn't feel that pull anymore, and says that they can actually use Odahan's sword now if they want to. Orem looks at her and says that that time has passed. The party start to head out and thank Liev Tell. The party then leave the Raven's Crest. They can see a lot of the city from where they are up here. They see the bustle of it. They can see at the skyport is a cluster of sky ships, 3 passenger ships, and 4 warships. There are 2 more ships on the outside of the city walls. Imogen is trying to figure out if the vision of the gods has been sent out since they were away. Ashton says that they would know if that would happen, because there would be chaos likely in this very religious city. The 2 make insight checks, and 25 comes from Imogen. Ashton was super low. As they step down the steps of the Raven's Crest, they see the people of the city are just existing here in the tension of the slow call to war. She doesn't get the sense that there has been any religious panic in the city. Ashton thinks that Ludinus will wait for the last second to drop the vision. That way it'll confuse the most people and put a bunch of doubt in their beings. Matt makes Laura roll a d20 for some reason. She rolls a 13, and that's all we know. We don't get any more information about that. Imogen then sends a message to Keyleth, saying, we're back in Vasselheim, where should we meet you? Keyleth answers, saying that she's not here at the moment, she's gathering her compatriots, one of which is being challenging to locate, but Lady Alora Visorin should be near the Platinum Sanctuary. Imogen tells the others this, and Ashton says that he has a question for Keyleth. He wants Imogen to send another message for her. He wants to ask her if there's any way for them to talk to the Titans, as the Archheart felt that that was important. Keyleth responds, saying, the Primordials have been long dead, but their journey is a unique one. You need to likely stand where the element is strongest, perhaps in Pyra or Terra, 2 Ashari villages. The party wonder if they should go to Pyra for Fern because of her connection to the fire. Lana says that there is actually a Titan right here in Vasselheim, so they don't really have to go all that far. Dorian asks if they're looking for more questions and answers, as because they still don't have all the answers to the questions they asked before. Dorian says that he liked the Raven Queen more than the other gods, however. Lana says that it's interesting the fact that the Raven Queen says that fate is like looking at patterns. She wishes she got to ask what patterns those were. Breas asks Lana for the mask. He wants to try to pray to it. Lana hands it back to him. Ashton says that the Raven Queen is the only god he actually respects. She holds up her promise to eventually meet her one day. Orem says that he's scared to pull the threads. The party think it's already too late for that. The threads are being pulled. The party look up and see at a nexus point in the ley lines, one of them is brimming with unnatural magical energy. Imogen sends a message to her mom. I don't know where you are or how it's going, but I love you and I trust you. She gets an answer after a little bit of time, and Liliana is rather quiet. Imogen, I'm glad you're okay. I love you too. I've kept him at bay so far, and I think he believes me. I think. Imogen believes she's trying to keep Ludinus from leaking the vision, and Dorian thinks that it's a bit too late to stop him at this point. Imogen disagrees, as she's done it so far, and she worries that he'll find someone else to do it if Liliana won't. Boreas questions if Liliana is even actually trying to stop him, but Imogen says that not everyone is a liar. Boreas disagrees and thinks that everyone is sometimes. They then all begin to make their way towards the Platinum Sanctuary. They pass many soldiers preparing for war. There are many war banners from distant lands. They all carry a look of not knowing what the next day holds. War priests are anointing other soldiers from different cultures. This is a meeting of many different cultures here. There are many medics gathering supplies, families gathering to say goodbye to their other family members going off to war. This is the first time the party have been in the thick of the brink of war before. It's a very emotional space. They all see all sorts of war beasts as they reach the base of the stairs to the Platinum Sanctuary. They hear conversation and people shouting, but one voice cuts through them all, and he yells, "Guys, no way." They turn and see a bald tiefling running towards them. It is Captain Xis. Captain Xis grabs Orm and picks him up and hugs him. Xis says it's so good to see them, and Orm asks when they got here. Xis says only a few days ago. Xis is then introduced to Dorian and Boreas. Xis says that he met Keyleth and that he got a title. Xis is now Captain Xis Keybane. After Xis was teleported off the Silver Sun as it was crashed into the Malleus Key, he walked the Hellcatch Valley for days. Xis had to hide as one of the Ruby Vanguard and then eventually met up with the Allied forces, who thought he was a spy at first, but he pleaded his case, and they acknowledged Xanis' loss, and then they gave him a title and a new ship. The ship is known as the Keybreaker in honor of what happened to the Silver Sun. Boreas asks if Xanis will be involved with the fight, and Xanis says that they'll be leading some of the skyships based on their knowledge of the area. Xanis asks what the party have been up to, and Orm says so much, and Chetney claims that they were the ones that told the council to give Xanis a new ship. Great lie there, Chetney, for no reason, to a very good person and friend. Orm tells Xanis that they went to the moon, and Xanis asks how it was. They give him a quick version of it all, and then they tell Xanis they're going back up there very soon during the three-pronged attack. They tell Xanis that they'll be part of the kickoff for the entire thing. Fern asks if Xanis has gotten their orders yet, and Xanis says that they are waiting for orders. Everything's very hush-hush. All they know is that they'll be leading part of these sky ships flying towards it. Chetney asks Xanis to describe their new ship, and Xanis says that he misses the old one. That one was built for speed. This one is much more hardy and can carry more things. It could fit 100 people on the ship if it was just people. There's no weapons. It's not really a warship. It's more of a payload ship, and they'll be dropping people off throughout the entire conflict. Orm asks if they've been in the city before, and Xanis says once before it wasn't really their vibe, but this go around is a little bit better as they have more respect. Xanis says that he has to go over a breakdown ledger and has to be off. He says that they know how to get in touch with him. They ask where FCG is, and the party say that he's not around anymore. Xanis feels sorry. He liked them. They were very uplifting. Boreas says that it was a pleasure, and Dorian says the same. Xanis says good luck with the moon, and Xanis says that he knew things were going to go nuts when they met the party for the first time. Fern says smiley day to you, and Xanis says smiley day to you back, and then runs off. The party are happy that Xanis is still alive. Boreas is shocked that Ira saved Xanis' life. Fern asks if there is a temple of Asmodeus. Imogen says that that is a big no-no in Vasselheim. There are no betrayer temples anywhere nearby. Fern wonders if they should just get the betrayer's opinions on things before they get going. Imogen says that she thinks that the opinion of the Wild Mother is much shared between the other prime gods. Boreas cuts in and says that she was looking for the opinions of the betrayer gods. Fern agrees with that statement. Lana asks if Boreas was going to pray to him anyway, so what does it matter? Boreas says that he wasn't necessarily going to pray to Asmodeus, but instead possibly the Platinum Dragon. Dorian says that he may have some insight on what the betrayers are doing. He says that when they were dealing with the Raven Queen and the threads were nearby, he touched one and saw Opal, one of the champions of the Spider Queen, with other companions preparing. She looked to be in the Hellcatch Valley, or at least something that looked like it. He tells the others that Opal is the champion, or one of the champions of the Raven Queen, and assumes that the betrayers are also gathering to fight as well, just like them. Orym asks if they can send a message to her. Dorian doesn't think that that's going to be very helpful. Ashton thinks that there's nothing to be gained from the betrayers. They'll likely have some sort of other agenda. He says that they've had many reasonable conversations with people who've tried to kill him the last time they saw them. Dorian could get something useful out of Opal, but they don't know. Orym says, though it was a nightmare for them all, they still care for her. If he can take a chance to say goodbye, he should, as they all should get ready to say goodbye to things. They don't know if this will be the last time they can. Ashton agrees, but the rest of the party don't seem to be on the same wavelength as Orym and Ashton. They don't like that negativity. Lana says, she says bye to Chetney every single night because who knows with him. Ashton doesn't think that is very negative to be realistic. Pretending that everything will be fine isn't healthy either. He says if they need to talk or say something to anyone, they should before they go. Lana thinks that they should have a eulogy for each other and say what they would say in case anyone were to die. Breas is on board with the idea. They finally reach the stairs to the Platinum Sanctuary. They see two guards are with Allura. She asks how their journey to the Fae went, and they inform her of what happened. She asks if they're sure that the Unseelie won't get involved. Dorian summons his steed. Dorian asks if he dropped off the guard and to answer with 2 clops of his hoof if he did, but Breas says that he can speak to him and he can't speak with animals. He asks if he fulfilled his duty to Dorian, and the dragon looks at him and says something that Breas doesn't understand as it's not an animal. He then clops his dragon hoof twice. I can't tell if this thing's supposed to be a dragon or a horse. They seem to be a mixture of the two. But the party don't have any confirmation that the Fae won't get involved with the conflict, but they hope that Dorian's plan works out. Allura says that they should get moving then. She thanks them for following through on this. Imogen asks Laudna in her head if they should tell her about the gods. Laudna isn't sure what they should do about that, so they don't say anything about them. Allura asks if they're still up for this. Orym says that they are. Laudna asks if they should say their goodbyes or if they should just feel confident that they'll make it. Allura says that in her youth she wouldn't focus on failure, but it helps that she was with those that she would say goodbye to. It depends on the individual. She tells the party that the forces have gathered in Vasselheim, Oncarel, and Whitestone, so all of their armies are in those locations, and will soon have enough magical means to teleport them all to the Hellcatch Valley. There are 2 spy units scouting the Bloody Bridge. Only one has returned. The enemy have gathered a large army and are preparing to cross the bridge at any moment. All sorts of Ruidians, people from Ruidus, are preparing on that side. They can't assume that they'll be waiting too long, so time is of the essence now. If they are to say their goodbyes, soon would be in order. Imogen asks if they should leave today or in the morning. Allura says that that's up to them realistically. She's uncertain when the army itself will be ready. But they need the party to get to Kavirus before they can even get themselves going on their attacks. Allura says that they know the path better than anyone, and they know the timeline that they'll need to reach the outskirts of the capital. They should let them know when that timeline will start. Breas asks how they'll communicate with each other, and Allura says the same way that they have been up to this point. They can send a message using the sending spell back and forth between Exandria and Ruidus now. There seems to be no limitations anymore. Ashton wants to see if they can talk to the Titan in Vasselheim first. Laudna asks where the other group they'll be meeting with is and if they're ready or not. Allura says that the Mighty Nine will arrive in Lake Umau. I think that's how you say it. Within the day. It's the lake that they went to through the portal with the back door. She says that there's a Zephyrin outpost there and that she can teleport them there at any moment. The Mighty Nine will escort them to the pillar, or the central pillar within the city of Kavirus, and then they will infiltrate the Arc Coronum. I'm going to say that wrong for sure. Arc Creonum? Creonum. I think that was it. Imogen says that they'll need to head to the Hollowed Cage and fight Ludinus when the Mighty Nine go their separate ways from them. Orym says that they need to pick what to do and do it before they leave. Laudna asks how fast the army will be able to get to the Hellcatch. Allura says that many mages who normally don't get involved with world politics have chosen to do so this time as they have a vested interest in the future of Exandria, so they'll be a big help in teleporting the vast majority of the armies. Orem thanks her for what she's done for them, and Allura says that she was in their position once, and it's because of others helping her out that she got as far as she has. Orem says that Kima is a lucky woman. Allura says yes, she is, and that so is she. She's very lucky to have Kima. Imogen says that they'll see her in a few hours. Allura says that she'll get everything ready for them to sort of start their trek off, and she will inform Keyleth and the Mighty Nein. Allura gives the party a few healing potions, and they hand them out to each other. Chetney tries to convince Allura to pay them for their pre-mission victory in the Fae, and he rolls a 17 on her persuasion. She says that they've given them many keys to victory and tosses them a coin pouch with 400 fucking platinum pieces and 35 silver. No gold. Weird choice, Allura. Allura says it won't do her any good in the days to come anyway. Ashton asks where he can find the most holy people in the Ashari in town. Allura says the two most influential figures of the Ashari that would be in town is Keyleth, who's not there, and Flameseeker Serkonos, who is organizing the assault, or at least helping organize the assault. Ashton asks if he'll be interested in talking to them. She says he likely will, but finding them both will be the hard part in this whole equation. She asks if they need anything else, and to let her know, she's actually going to start spreading the news that things are getting started. The party seem to be in agreement that they are going to the lake at least today. Imogen asks what Ashton wants to do. They aren't sure if either people he wanted to talk to are going to be here. Fern thinks that it's going to be fun to at least climb the Titan here in Vasselheim and see if they can talk to it. Imogen thinks that the money they just got from Allura will be a lot of help to get gems that they need for spells. Imogen asks for some money from Chetney, but he's not giving anything up for some reason. He's being a greedy little fuck. Dorian takes his hand and casts Charm Person on him. Chetney fails the save with an 8, and he gives half the money to Imogen. The group then split into 3 different groups. There is going to be the shopping group with Orem, Imogen, Chetney, and Breas, because Chetney, Travis, has decided that it's a good thing to go shopping this time, which is shocking. And then there's going to be Group Titan, which is going to be Laudna, Ashton, and Fern, and Dorian is going off on his own to look at the militants and see what's going on with them. We're going to start with Team Shopping. They're looking for some diamond dust, and with a perception check of 26 from Orem being the highest, they do find that most of the shops that would have expensive stuff are closed. It's not really appropriate for them to be open right now. They find that most of the places that are open are out of their supplies. They do, however, find a smaller shop, and it's called Cedric's Shines and Keepsakes. They step inside, and it's got a red velvet color to the walls, and it's pretty empty as well. But they do see a man with gray hair and what looks to be a very interesting looking mustache. It's, the typical one that you're thinking of right now. You and I both know. He sees them and welcomes them to a shop. He is Cedric. He says he's mostly sold out, but he asks what he can do for them. They ask if he has any diamond dust. He claims that he doesn't. He says that it's a strange request, but he is sold out. Inside check from Breas for a 22. He gets a whisper. Breas looks at his hands and his fingers and sees that he has many rings on them. He asks Cedric about the rings, and he says that they are family keepsakes. Bray says that he clearly has some gems around here. Chetney starts to stack platinum pieces on the counter, and Cedric takes notice of this and stops talking. Orem says that they need to know how much it would cost. He tells them to close the doors, and he opens the curtains to the back, and they can see there's a bunch of forgery machinery in the back. Great. He says if they're paying well, he needs to know exactly what they're looking for. They hand him 12 platinum pieces and ask for that much worth of diamond dust. He then picks up a bag with a handful of diamonds, and then he puts them in a diamond crusher, and he even includes his diamond rings into the crusher. Orem sees a bunch of extra shit in the back, like examples of signatures, and he sees that he also has a potion crafting table. He sees that this guy might be making fake potions, however. Great guy. Breas asks for some art supplies, and Cedric says that he's got him. Cedric finishes crushing up the diamonds and hands it over to the party. They pay him the 12 platinum like they offered. It's about 900 gold worth of diamond dust, so they overpaid a little bit, but that's okay. The party see a bunch of books on basics of common and basics of math. They ask about it, and he says that he's expanding his business a little bit, and if they have kids who need to learn, they can bring them to him. Imogen rolls a 19 on an insight and gets a whisper. Cedric gets the art stuff for Breas by basically ripping apart his shop, and Chetney asks if he has anything else for sale. He takes out a wooden box and asks if the party have ever had Marquesian Fusaka. Fusaka? It's also known as spice. So it's drugs. Drugs. Great. After a bit of talk, Chetney buys some of it off of him for 200 gold. He tells them to not get caught with any of it, and if they do, to not say anything about him. This group then heads back towards the Platinum Sanctuary. We then head to see what Dorian is doing. He went to see what the army or the militants are up to. He makes his way through the encampments to get a feel for how the soldiers are doing, and he's trying to take it all in. He plays a song in his lute and tries to tell a few stories so he can feel like a bard. He sings about the Bell's Hells and tells their lore to the soldiers. He does this for as long as he can and hopes to spread goodwill about him and his friends. He hears people humming as they go about. There's a solemn energy around him that shifts in his presence, and the soldiers of new and old meet Dorian's face, find a bit of comfort, and the tension melts away for a little bit. Here in this time, Dorian sees the power of music. It grabs the soul of those nearby and guides them to a much better memory. He finishes up and turns around and sees dozens of faces smiling at him, and they return to their business. Meanwhile, the Titan group get to the base of the Titan at the center of the city. It's very lively as they see people moving about the massive structure as people have carved their way inside of it to make it part of the city. It feels like a repurposed dark memory. Ashton feels something in the pit of his stomach as he gets closer to it. It feels like he's connected to it. It feels ominous. They go to the nearest leg and they see that there's a staircase going up that has been carved into it. They see some teens chilling on it, and the teens look at them. Lana tells them, or asks them, if there's a lift so they don't have to walk up, and the kid says no, that they have to do, in fact, walk up. Ashton asks if it can take them to the top, and the kid says that they'll have to keep climbing the stairs, but they eventually will. Vern asks if there is a tavern in the asshole of the Titan, and the kid says, yeah, sure, it's called the Shanks Cantina, right in its asshole. Insight check of 24, and Fern gets a whisper. Lana tells them to get out of the way because they're blocking the stairs, and the kid says that they have to pay the toll. Lana says no and takes her form of dread and makes her flesh begin to peel back. The kids run off, and so do some of the locals. They do see a sign, however, that says Titan's Block. It's not an official sign, but it's well crafted. They head inside and they go up the Titan, 50 steps, 100 steps, 150 steps. They can smell the smell of alcohol as they see a drunk man sleeping on the steps. They continue onwards, 200 steps up. They eventually get to an open chamber with a bunch of shacks inside with wood that looks to be wet and rotted. It's a quaint little place, and people are going about their business. It seems like a place for people to live who needed a place to live. They see more stairs and they continue going up. They see more homes carved into the side of this massive Titan. Ashton feels comfortable. It's like the inside of some of the spires that he used to live in Jushar. They continue to climb, and they do find that the Shanks Cantina is actually a real thing, but they continue past it for now. As they go up, Ashton and Fern feel odd familiarity to this place, but they can't quite place it. For Ashton, it's like a building anxiety and a dark curiosity. This place is like a maze as they go up, with a bunch of small neighborhoods. Fern asks how Ashton is feeling. He says that he feels an echo here. He doesn't hear the first voice, but the second and third. Laudna looks for any necromantic energy around them, because of the past of this Titan. She makes an Arcana check at 15. She doesn't pick up on anything like that, but she does see that there are glyphs built into the stone. She uses her Eyes of the Runekeeper to see that these wards are to keep necromantic magic out of this thing, to sort of keep it from coming back to life. As they go, they find older structures built before the people of Vasselheim started repurposing this place. These buildings are like old dungeons, and families now live in them. They climb even more and the anxiety gets thicker. They should feel lost here, but Ashton has been instinctually leading them around. They eventually come to an open cavern. This place is where many geodes should have been, but have been mined out. And there are many small huts here and tents within this chamber, and there are people hiding inside. Ashton feels drawn to the center of this place. Laudna climbs up to the top where she does find a geode. She uses spider climb to do so. She takes a few minutes to chip away at it. Ashton goes to the place that he is feeling the pull the most and makes a small fire. Laudna wonders if they're in the head, and she makes a survival check, and she figures out that there's no way they made it to the head quite yet. They must be in the core of its chest, near the heart. Fern asks if he wants to go to the head, and Ashton actually says he's more of a heart than anything. The two of them sit by the fire that he made. Fern asks if he's feeling anything. Ashton says that he's trying to be cautious in this moment. Fern suggests putting his hand on the ground of the Titan. He puts his rocky hand, or his Titan hand, on the ground and relaxes. The ground gives way, and it's almost like clay. His hand sinks to his wrist. He takes Fern's hand and lays down. His body sinks into the ground a bit, but it's only his Titan arm that truly goes in. He feels a quake go through him. He asks Fern if she's coming with, and she says if she can. He then transforms into his Titan form. Laudna can feel the ceiling shake to his transformation. Fern sees him, and she just sees him laying down, not transformed at all. Ashton then slips into the rock and loses Fern's hand. He sinks in and he sees only darkness. It's like he's buried alive. Fern lifts his eyes and sees that he's just sitting there, almost looks like he's sleeping. Ashton is currently in darkness, dead still and warm. He tries to rage, but there's a brief glow of something that's inside, and he feels a pulsing inside. He feels burning embers in his chest. He feels a specter around him, a presence. Ashton asks what its name is. He says that he'll share his if it does. He rages again, and the rock around him begins to crack away. There's a flash and an image in his mind of crumbling ground, valleys falling, and mountains rising and piercing. Images of rain carving through stone valleys. Ashton says that the gods may leave. He might be able to chase them off. He asks for it to talk to him. He rages again. He tenses, and the rock around him finally cracks and falls away completely. He is in a faintly lit purple horizon. A mountain in the distance rises. Its size is incomprehensible. He is surrounded by mountain peaks, and they're all looking at him. Ashton asks if he's part of them. They say that she is part of him. Ashton asks who they are. They are the rock, the stone, the world. Ashton says that he walks this world. He's of them, and he will return to them. He travels with a part of Raushand. He says the gods may leave. He asks what's possible and what they want. More mountains appear. They say that they are lost and scattered. They're everything. Ashton doesn't know what it's like to be lost and everything at the same time. He asks how they can remake the world, and the mountains say that they've always been. The presence is beyond Ashton's comprehension. He's not speaking to the Titan, it's more of a gateway. He sees the mountains across the world and even a single stone in a river. He feels what was once the breath of the world is now shattered and is now lost to its own memory. Ashton asks how to fix them. He wants to know how to fix what's broken. The mountains say lost over and over, repeatedly, and it begins to become more rapid. The ground shifts upward. Ashton is now standing on the tallest pillar in the land, the peak looking at the purple infinity around them. He says that he doesn't feel lost. He says that he's not lost. He says that if they make them leave, they can find them again. The peak shifts. A hand races up and clasps around Ashton. He's entombed once again. He feels like a piece of coal becoming a diamond, feeling immense pressure. And at the moment where he feels like he's about to give up, the fist opens and he sees a green gem-like eye. This is the specter of the one inside of him. The specter says that this is their memory. They are lost, but he is not. Ashton reaches out and grabs the Spectre, the Eye. Ashton says that he travels with him as well, meaning the other Titan, and asks if he is just a memory as well. The Spectre says yes. Ashton says that he'd like to remember. He's sorry for being broken. Ashton asks if it'll hurt, and the Spectre says that it doesn't remember. Ashton holds up the Spectre to his face. He looks into the gem and he sees visions of that feel very familiar. It's the beauty of chaos, watching the lands crumble and be swallowed up by the fire and stone to remake fertile ground for life to thrive. He sees a time where there is maybe too much chaos, or maybe there hasn't been enough since. Ashton says not broken, just in motion. He asks if the world will hold. The Spectre says that it's held, being remade before. Ashton asks for what of those in it, and the Spectre says if they are strong, they will hold as well. Ashton says that he understands, and the Spectre says to remake himself and never stop changing. The form shifts back into the pillar. The pillar that he is standing on breaks, and he begins to fall into the purple below. He eventually wakes up on the floor in front of Fern. Ashton asks how long he was out, and Fern says maybe 2 minutes. Lana climbs down. Ashton says that he thinks he just spoke to Exandria itself, and he thinks that she sent him a message. He says that the shard in him is good. If things go the way that they think, nature will right itself. Ashton notices he is normal once again, as if he never changed. Ashton says that the world is ready for some more chaos. Fern wants to go to Shanks' place to have some drinks. On the way to it, Ashton goes on and on about his little trip that he had in great detail. They eventually step into Shanks, and a creepy old man running the place welcomes them. They see this place is very small, maybe 5 people can fit in it here and drink. They all order themselves some drinks, and the drink is known as Shanks, or the Shanks. Imogen sends them a message asking them if they're going to be at the sanctuary soon. Lana tells them that they're at a bar and asks them to join them. Imogen gets mad and says that they have people waiting on them, and the 3 ask for their drinks to go, but they don't have any money, or at least not much. The bartender starts to take the drinks away, but Fern says that they're going to be the ones saving the world and they need those bottles. He says 5 silver and to sign the wall, as he wants the world saviors to be written on his wall forever. They do so, and they get their bottles and head out. Group shopping waited 3 hours for the others to get back. Chetney and Breas were working on some art at the time. Imogen used her short rest to refill her spells using sorcery points, and then another short rest to get her sorcery points back. Chetney makes a Nana Mori-inspired toy, and another toy that we don't know, and we don't know what Breas was doing, because it's a work in progress and he's not sharing yet. Dorian joins them. He's very happy and was laughing with a handful of soldiers as he came close. He says he has a good feeling about the time ahead. The others join them and explain what they did and that they drank in the Titan's ass. They share everything that they bought with each other, and then the soldiers who were laughing with Dorian eventually split up a bit and then part ways like the Red Sea, as the Kryn Dynasty warriors step through. They are very intimidating looking, and they are walking towards the party. Chetney steps forward and greets them. Breas draws his weapon. The warriors grab their weapons in response, and an old female goblin steps forward, wearing ceremonial robes with silver and purple and gray. Her eyes look at the party. She says hello to Chetney and asks if they are the Belsells. Chetney says yes. She says that she has a gift for them, and she holds up a box made of dark materials. She hands it to Chetney. Chetney says that he is the leader of the Belsells and asks for her name. She says that she is the Sky Sibyl Miriam. Chetney says that it's an honor. She says that those in the Dynasty aren't the most connected to the gods, but wish to defend those that they wish to maintain their allyship with. They know that they are going to attempt the impossible, and they want to aid them a bit. Do not forget this kindness from the Kryn Dynasty. Chetney takes it and opens it. He sees 2 vials and a gray orb with a storm inside of it. The Dynasty wishes them the greatest of luck in their mission ahead. Imogen asks what they do, and Miriam says that they're clever and walks away with the soldiers flanking her. Breas says that the last 4 days of the party have been incredible, because that is the only, time that they've known each other. He's met every leader of the world and has been to many realms with them. He says this is nuts. Ashton gets a feeling in his head when he's near the box. It's a familiar feeling to what he found in Jenna Huxham's place. Fern casts Identify on the orb. The 2 potions are very familiar to the party. They are 2 potions of possibility. Fern looks at the ball and sees the storm speed up and slow down. Fern says that using enough force will shatter the orb, encircling any creature within 15 feet. All creatures affected immediately regain half of their expended hit points, rounded up. Spellcasters regain 1d4 plus 4 spell slots of their choice, which is fucking cracked. Imagine you get 8 spell slots back after expending them in the middle of a fight. That's crazy. And they gain the benefits of a short rest. So, like, Imogen can get all of her sorcery points back. Nuts. And, like, Laudna can get her spells back. Crazy shit. When the item is used, the item is destroyed. It's called the Sphere of Dunamantic Restoration. Great item. Fantastic item. Chetney looks for anything that could be used to track the party and within the box and on the items, and he doesn't find anything. The party head up to the Platinum Sanctuary. About halfway up, they run into Allura. She asks if they need anything. They say to go to the lake, and she says, of course. She isn't going to be taking them herself, and she sends a message to someone who will be waiting for them in a few minutes. She says that this might be the last that she sees of them before their journey. Laudna says that this isn't goodbye. Chetney says that this is a go get 'em, and Allura says she can't wait to learn more about them after this is all done, and to go get 'em. Orm wishes her luck in her journey, and she continues onward. They go up to the top and they meet Lita, waiting for them. Orm's sister, or sister-in-law. The 2 of them hug, and Lita says he's been doing a lot. Orm asks how many of them came with her, and she turns and points to Maeve, their other sister. Maeve then runs up and begins talking to them as well. They have a camp at the lake, and they've been there for about a week. Orm asks how home is, and Maeve says that it's good, or at least it's good as it can be. Maeve then takes them over to some trees. She lifts her staff up, and the tree opens up, and they can see a walkway into a forest. They rush through, and they step into a slightly warmer space. There's less gray in the sky than Vasselheim. Orm says this place was haunted the last time he was there, and Lita says that they haven't seen anything like that since they got here. Brace uses divine sense and finds nothing of note. Lita guides them to the open lake. They can hear the waves of the lake. Dorian and Brace see the valley for the first time, and they see the small fishing village with many tents around it. They see that there's other Zephyrin soldiers on watch, and they see many birds looking around, giving the party knowing looks. These are obviously druids who have transformed into birds. The party see large barricades of brown thorns and bramble in case something were to attack them. Some of the town nearest to the dock have been made into makeshift homes. Lita says that they've been told to keep the waters of the lake at bay to help them travel when they're ready. Orm asks if the Mighty Nine are here yet, and Lita says that they're not here yet, but they should be here soon. She says that they can stay at one of the many houses or in a tent if they want. They choose to take up some rooms in the houses, and they go to a place that's very similar to the one they stayed in last. Laudna looks for Ropey in this time. She finds many ropes throughout the town, but she's not sure if any of them are Ropey itself. But she does eventually find the boat that was Bodhi. And inside the boat is Ropey. Great. They are then brought to their rooms and given some things to make sleep a little easier, if they need to sleep there. There's about an hour before dark. Chetney is working on some wood while sitting in a windowsill. Brace asks if they've met the people that they're waiting for before, and the party said that they met 2 of them before. Specifically Caleb and Bo, or as they call them, Dirt Wizard and Abs. Orm goes outside to find his sisters. He finds Maeve and asks where his mom is. Maeve says that she's back home. They couldn't bring everyone through. They need to keep some people posted at home. They were told this place was important to Orm, so they did their part. He asked what they will do after the party go through what they have to do, and Maeve says that they will guard this place. Orm is happy. He didn't think he'd be able to see them before heading out. Maeve asks if he's okay. He says yes, and that their father taught him well. Orm says that he loved them, and so does Orm, he being their father. The 2 of them hug. And she says that once this is all over, he's going to have to tell her everything that he's done. She then turns into an owl and takes off. He heads back to the party and grabs Imogen. They go outside. He asks if she can send a message to his mom. She says, "Hi from Vasselheim. Where I'm meant to be. I love you. You're the best mom in the world." His mom answers, "I love you too. Have fun wherever you're going. When you come back, I've got a new recipe, apricot pie. I hear you like pies more." Imogen asks if he's excited, and he says he's more so feeling the anticipation. Orm says that he appreciates her, and she says it back to him. Imogen then sends a message to her dad after Orm leaves. "Daddy, things are crazy. I love you. No matter what, thank you for doing your best." He answers, "Imogen, I think about you a lot. I hope wherever you are happy. You always were a wandering spirit. The horses miss you as much as I do." Imogen apologizes for taking them away from the bar. It seems that they had plenty of time. Vern takes out the bottles and says that it was okay. Breas pulls Dorian aside to talk. He asks him how he can become more trusted in the party. Dorian says that he lies a bit too much. That's a big thing. Dorian also suggests to stop saying that it's just the party and him, and instead start saying us more, and to stop trying to force things to happen. Ashton then goes to Dorian and asks if he's okay. Things seem to be different. The two of them share a drink, and Dorian asks for Ashton the same thing. Ashton says that he wants to be less of a dick. He says that he was going to say goodbye to people, but his list of people he'd say goodbye to are more so a list of people he'd apologize to. He says that he's sorry for being a shit when they first met. Dorian says not to worry about it. Ashton asks if he likes his parents and his family. Dorian says yes. Ashton says that he has a hard time believing in good parents. Dorian says that there's been a lot of conversations about fate, none more telling than who birthed you. Ashton says that Dorian is well adjusted for having such a family. Ashton says that he's worried that they'll see Opal and asks what she's like. Dorian says that she was trying to prove herself and she was very lost. She might have been the easiest to corrupt, but he doesn't feel like she's completely gone. Dorian says Ashton must know what it's like to have something inside of them pulling them in two different directions. Ashton says he's been given 1,000 reasons not to trust people, but he's learning. Dorian asks if it would be so bad if he became more likable. Ashton says that he'd like to like himself. Dorian says that he's always liked Ashton, and Ashton says there's a short list of people who would actually say that. He hopes that they can save Opal. Dorian asks why he feels guilty about saying goodbye to people. Ashton says that it's not really a goodbye. Dorian asks if he's scared, and Ashton says that he's always scared. You get angry, you blame people who's not at fault, you fuck things up and you piss people off, and then you hurt them. And maybe the best thing you do is stay away. Maybe that's just made him feel better over time. If they survive, he'll apologize properly. Dorian says that his mother told him the act of giving a gift isn't for the person who receives it, but for the one who gave it. So maybe he should let himself receive gifts from his friends that they've been trying to give him all along. He might do himself a service by doing so. And then the two of them go their separate ways. Chetney sees a flash of orange nearby the water, and a handful of people stand in the moonlight. He sees 7 bodies. The party go down and greet them. They all step out, and they see the Mighty Nein. Caleb says that he thinks this is the right place. Jester doesn't understand why they couldn't just go to Vasselheim, because I'm assuming she wanted to vandalize some fucking temples. Bo is upset that they have to run with the rookie crew that she's already met before. Yasha claims that they all look very small. Veth frickin' Branato is freaking out at the sight of Breas and is mad that her son is an asshole and her husband won't punish him. Caduceus says that she's run out of words to complain about her Luke with, and Ford says that this couldn't be any worse for her. Minotaurs are her weakness. Bo asks if Caddy has Revivify because Chetney looks like he's about to die at any minute, and Jester calls him cute. Caleb says that they are the Mighty Nein. Jester shakes Chetney's hand, and Chetney introduces them to the Bell's Hells. Chetney says that this is their Airbnb, and Jester buys that. They introduce themselves to each other. Laudna asks why they are called the Mighty Nein if there's only 7 of them, and that's where the session ends. So there you have it, episode 110 of Campaign 3 of Critical Role. I have some words about this episode, okay? This episode was on the fast track to being one of my least favorite episodes of the entire campaign because they just reiterated a bunch of stuff that they already know for like an hour, and then they did the Titan thing, which is fine. They bought Diamond Dust things, which is fine. I hate shopping. I wish they would just gloss over it, but everyone's own game is different, so they do their own thing, and I appreciate that they do their own thing. But the first like hour was really rough, or sorry, the first like half was really rough. It was just reiterating the same stuff that we've already known for ages, and going over the plan again and again and again. They eventually did split up and start doing their own separate things for the second half, or at least like the second half of the first half. But once they got into the second half of the entire thing, like the second 2 hours, it was much better. Dealing with like the stuff inside the Titan was really cool. Walking around the Titan was really cool. Eventually them meeting the Mighty Nein, which is the highlight for me of this episode, because I love the Mighty Nein and I will always love the Mighty Nein. So yeah, I went from me being this close to saying this is probably the worst episode in the entire campaign for me to it being somewhere in the middle. The Mighty Nein really saved this episode, and Veth frickin' Bernato is back. There was a lot of questions if it was going to be Luke or if he was going to play someone else or something like that. No, he is Veth Bernato. Sam is going to be playing Veth, which is dope. I'm very excited for that. Something I did notice is there's only 7 people, which means that there isn't someone for Robbie to play, which is kind of concerning. Does that mean poor Robbie's not going to be there? Maybe Essek will show up, or maybe he'll be in Ashari. Who knows? But either way, very, very excited for the future based on the last hour of this game. Very hyped for anything to come. But anyway, let me know what you guys thought about episode 110 in the comment section, and I will see you guys on Tuesday for whatever video I make next. Peace.